Hello everyone, let's have ourselves a chat. I'm John from Rusty Chains, and today our chat is about the Land of the Free update for Payday 3. Well, at least part of it, because this is the big update. In fact, it's one of the biggest single updates in Payday history. With that in mind, we thought it made sense to split it up a bit so we could each work on different videos and get them out together. For this one, we're focusing on the quality of life updates added with this patch, as well as all the new weapons. So let's dive right in. Starting with those quality of life updates, there are some neat new animations in this patch. The construction mesh for the escape on Road Rage now sees the heisters take out a box cutter to slice through. The thermal drill also got some love, with new animations for bolting it down, unscrewing it for disassembly, placing oxygen tanks, and removing them. Most excitingly, the communication wheel got first and third person animations for everything except requesting ammo and health. Also, not an animation, but in the tab screen, modifiers are finally split. They're easier to read and have their designated icon. It's nice it breaks up the giant wall of text we had before. Now for some gameplay updates. We have some skill changes, because Starbreeze hasn't had enough controversy around those, I guess. The first change is to Assassin's Medal. Previously, the skill would give you 10 HP for every marked enemy you killed with a suppressed weapon if you had no armor. Starting with this update, the skill gives 5 health instead of 10. Unless you're below 50% health, then it does give 10 again. It can also be activated if you only have one armor plate instead of only being when armor is completely broken. Personally, I kind of like this change. You'll be healing less overall, yes, but it still builds up a nice safety net for when your armor breaks, since you can still overheal. And this is just as effective at stitching you up when you get really low on health with your back against the wall. Now for one I expect significantly fewer people will enjoy. The precision shot skill has been dramatically nerfed. Before this update, the skill would grant extra damage based on your scope magnification if you were aiming down a scope and had edge active. Now, edge is no longer required. If you hit 2 headshots in a row without reloading or swapping your weapon, your next body shot gets a damage bonus based on scope magnification. That could go either way, except the kicker is you now need a 4 times scope or higher for this to work. Those scopes are only available on the SA A144 DMR and the Rheinfeld 900 sniper rifle. This skill now only works to increase the damage output of the 2 best primaries in the game. With those being single shot precision weapons, you're already probably aiming for heads since these are one-shot headshot kill guns. There's no reason to take a skill for body shot increase with these guns. At best, this skill is completely useless. And at worst, it just further increases the power gap with the best weapons and everything else. And we all know what Starbreeze likes to do when one thing rises above the rest in Payday 3. We also in this patch have our first post-launch gadget. You can now get the trip laser and place it on walls returning from Payday 2. Anybody who walks through and breaks the laser is marked and visible to your team. This is a handy object for keeping track of guard patrol routes in stealth, or for marking crowds that come through high traffic areas in loud if you're running an assassin build. Now in a new systems update, there are daily challenges here for Payday 3 that you can see on the main menu. Every day you get 3 challenges you can complete for some money and some C-stacks, and if you are not happy with your selection, you can re-roll 1 challenge per day. Last big gameplay update in this patch is the new consumable slot. You can now pick up ammo repair kits or first aid kits you find on the map, and store them away in your inventory for later. You can only carry 1 type of consumable though, but you can carry 3 of the type you're holding. Whichever you pick up first is the one you have until you get rid of all the ones you have. You tap the key to instantly use the consumable for yourself, or you hold your consumable key to drop it for a friend to pick up. This is a pretty useful feature, and carrying around some armor repair kits really helped us a couple times while we were playing the test build this past week, even if it means juggling more resources and micromanagement in Payday 3. Now, with that all out of the way, let's talk about the new weapons added with this update. First up is the Tribune 32 pistol, inspired by the real-life MPA-30 DMG, and this weapon is available for free to all players. This thing's pretty exciting, I'm not gonna lie. It's the first fully automatic secondary weapon in Payday 3, which opens up a ton of build variety. It doesn't quite hit as hard as primary SMGs, which, makes sense because it's a secondary, but it still gives you some great options for crowd control, and gives you some options if you want to take a slower primary, or just want to continue shredding with 2 guns on a full auto build. This is a very welcome addition to the Payday 3 arsenal. Now onto the paid Houston Breakout weapon pack. The unique gimmick of the 3 weapons in the 3rd weapon pack of Payday 3 is that all 3 weapons fire exclusively in 3-round bursts. Do you get it? 3. Before we look at the individual guns, there are some things we need to be aware of. First of all, this is a milestone, with these being the first strictly burst fire weapons in Payday. Like, all of Payday. While these weapons are overall decent, they do expose some problems with Payday 3. Firstly, the stupid weapon stat bars in the inventory show damage for the entire burst at once, not one bullet. So all the bars are basically full, and it's hard to accurately compare to other weapon stats based on that regard. We also don't have fire mode select yet in Payday 3, even though they were already in Payday 2 at this point, so these weapons can become a bit more situational than most without that freedom. Now the first gun in this pack is the Chanet S3 Assault Rifle. This is the medium to long range battle rifle based on the real life FAMAS Valeroy's variant. This is handy for dinking some good headshots with precision. It doesn't quite dethrone the SA or the Rhinefield 900S, but it fits nicely into their roles for picking people off from range. It's a fun new rifle that is viable, and it doesn't power creep us too badly. Well done to the designers for this one. Next up is the M7 Pursuivant Shotgun, based on the real-life Tokarev TBP-12. This shotgun is kinda weird. It's almost too effective, if that makes sense. The weapon is burst fire, like all the guns in this pack, but it's strong enough to usually kill most police in 1 or 2 shots until the heavies show up. That means that for most of the heist, you're probably wasting 1 or 2 bullets per trigger pull, unless you've lined up for a crowd. I found it was better to use this shotgun for major crowd control, while I would bring a revolver or high damage single shot secondary to be my accurate gun for disposing of single targets. It did feel a little backwards for some reason, but all in all, this is an effective crowd control alternative to the rapid fire weapons. I do appreciate this gun for bringing a new mentality to the shotgun playstyle in Payday 3. Moving on to the final weapon in this pack, the Picchio Duro 5 pistol, which I'm so desperately hoping I pronounced correctly, is inspired by the Beretta 93R. This is a nice burst fire pistol with very good accuracy and very good stability, and pretty decent damage. This weapon complements your loadout well if you want to bring a more spray and pray type weapon. I also appreciate it because, similar to the Tribune, it's just a lot of new options for loadout variety in Payday 3 with your secondary, even if they don't want to break away from secondaries being exclusively pistols just yet. This is a really good update for weapons, all things considered. Although the shotgun isn't exactly my style, it's not a bad gun. There's no weak links in this pack. 2 weapon DLCs in a row with good guns accompanied by nice free weapons. These weapons are all, of course, lovingly animated, as is everything in Payday 3. Starting with Boys in Blue, Leah has been doing animation showcases for all the weapon packs just to really highlight it and give the animators their flowers. She has one of those available now on the channel for the Houston Breakout weapons. We also have videos up reviewing each of the heists from this update individually. I recommend checking those out, and we'll have more coverage coming up throughout the week. Until next time, don't forget to spread the happy and stay rusty.